Blackgaze is a genre that I was entirely unaware of until the middle of last year. For those who aren't aware, like I myself was, it's a genre that combines black metal and shoegaze. Genres that by and large should not technically work together, but yet they do. Before we get into the genre itself, we should talk about the two genres that encompass the name blackgaze: black metal and shoegaze. Black metal's roots are often traced back to the early 80s in England and Scandinavia. To me, it's generally angry cousin to thrash metal, a genre that was made popular at a similar time by bands like Metallica and the like. I'm personally, myself, do not listen to black metal because it generally is too grating on my ears as someone who is on the autism spectrum. But I do know enough about it to recognize that its influences are great, and the fact that Merciful Fate is part of the first wave of black metal. But that is a whole other video topic in itself. Shoegaze is essentially the polar opposite of black metal in many aspects, as it's generally more about the atmosphere and a general sense of relaxation in music. And with popular acts such as My Bloody Valentine with their magnum opus, Loveless, which came out in 1991, and the genre's unfortunate sidelining by grunge only months after that album came out by Nirvana, it's a wonder how these two genres came together. In 2006, a band called Oathbreaker formed. They were, to me, at least one of the first bands to really nail the sound that would eventually be called Blackgaze. And they did it very well. But that band is for another video. The real band for today is this one. And they are probably the best band of the genre. Kokeshi, a Blackgaze band based in Tokyo formed in 2017. A band that, honestly, to my opinion, encompasses the genre to a T. The members being Nana, Adele, Juichi, and Kazuma. Nana is the vocalist, Adele is the guitarist, Junichi is the bassist, and Kazuma is the drummer. Adele and Kazuma had been performing together since their teens, and they formed Kokeshi in 2017, with Nana being a addition soon after. And Junichi as well was an addition soon after Nana was joined. And thus the lineup of Kokeshi was born. Where do I even start with this band? Well, how about we go down the list of members, starting with the center of all, Nana. Someone who is a ballet dancer, attracted to anyone who grew up in the 2000s. That is me. Yes, that is me. That is me. That is me. And a certified psychopath when performing live or in studio. Nana possesses some of the most hypnotizing and brutal vocals that I've ever heard come out of someone's mouth. From a borderline ritualistic chanting quality to her clean vocals, down to her ocean-bed guttural screams, and up to her just inhumanely piercing high screams, it's perfect for blackgaze, all while looking entirely unassuming until you see her perform. Adele has some of the best guitar parts I've heard in a while. While he is not the most technical guitarist, he has some very, very, very fun guitar parts that are very memorable in my head, and they accompany Nana's vocal performances very well. Yuichi has one of the most important parts of the band, the bass lines. Now, to many people, bass isn't that important. They're wrong, as bass is, well, what's a better way of saying this? If the vocals are the heart of Blackgaze, then bass is the lungs, as it keeps the beat going constantly, and he does that very well, as you'll hear in a couple segments above and later on. But more importantly, it's not overdone. It's just there. and people who have ears who are more trained for listening to music will hear it easily. And then there's the drummer. Kazuma's part is essentially the brain of the band. Most people hear the vocals and the drums before anything else, as in mixes, especially in metal, they are generally the most prominent part of a mix. But is the drum work good? Yes. Yes, oh, it's good. It is very good, actually, I would go far as to say, but it's also not the most insanely technical parts I've ever heard. I've heard better, but I've also heard way worse. But what he does complements everything in the band. The drumming beat that introduces the sound of the band is very on point and precise. I haven't noticed any mistakes in the live performances or even in the studio performances, which is what you want in a band that is touring constantly. But all the technical skill and prowess of a member does not mean anything if the band itself sounds good, or if it doesn't sound good. Does the band sound good? Yes, I would go as far as say it sounds excellent. But where do we start? I'd say we should start with their first EP, Doke. The most popular track on the EP is Takaishin Sokaido, and it's easy to see why, as Nana's vocals being in full show here. The highlight of the song comes at 2 minutes and 6 seconds. The shoegaze influence is in full show here, and there's a brief lull before the song goes back into a relentless assault to end out the track. However, my favorite track on the EP is Kairai, as intro shows off Nana's hauntingly clean vocals, only for the song to explode at 1:40. Which leads into a pounding assault of vocals and instrumentals yet again. You notice a little bit of pattern with Blackgaze, but with that in itself. While I'm not going to talk about the full EP, just know it sets a framework for what is to come for their next release 3 years later, Koku. I like this one. The opening track, Taikai, instantly set the scene for what would be an experience. It was my introduction to the band. It has everything that this band is good at. Enchanting, haunting vocals,
すべてを覆い尽くす人から生まれた盾は望まぬ道化と引き換えにあらゆるものを我が身から断絶し
overwhelming streams, intense atmosphere,
存続する目的のためだけに作られた表情は内に秘める声と行動の際からいびつな形相となり
and a massive breakdown all in a 5-minute and 8-second package. Only to go into Kaibai no Shizumu, which is purely face-punching moss music. Up until the minute 55 mark, where the song entirely switches up as this band is very good at doing. Only to just switch up again at 2 minute 43 and go back into a still chaotic but less chaotic part as Nana switches between slightly clean vocals and her, at this point, signature guttural and high screams. This entire album is amazing, with Taikai being the best track. However, my favorite track on the album is Into the Darkness. It's their most interesting track, as it sits at nearly 9 minutes long, which for most people is 7 minutes too long for them if they like hardcore music, or 4 minutes too long, even 5 minutes too long if they like regular music. It's the longest song of theirs to this date, and it shows off to their Blackgaze sound in its perfect state. The feature from the vocalist Nipa, who is in the band's Kira's Cold and Loyat's accompanies Nana to perfection, and as Nana comes in at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, with her very cult like chanting clean vocals, and then the screaming at 2 minutes 46, which are some of her most foreboding screams on the album. But that's not where the song ends. As you know, it's 9 minutes long. And then Deepa comes back in shortly after, only now this time with the pounding instrumentals. And as the two trade off, vocals and even harmonize, one might wonder how the song, which is 9 minutes long, is going to be filled. Well, at roughly halfway point, the song becomes entirely instrumental. Well, not entirely, nearly instrumental, with only brief periods broken up by Nana and Deepa.
どれほどの時をここで過ごしたのだろうか。出口のない部屋。
But one might wonder how the song last 3 minutes will end. Well, a Deftone style explosion at 6 minutes and 19 seconds with Deepa and Nana duetting vocals.
今日も明日もその先も
This song features arguably Nana's most emotional vocals, and the last 2 minutes is pure intensity between the two as they duet in and out the song, and as it slowly fades out, this leads into the final track of the album. The sun shines upon all of us. It's the final track on Koku, which came out in 2023. It's an interesting track to end off on, I will say, as the prior track would be perfect to be the ending track. But who am I to judge? I'm just a person who talks about things that I love. Interesting ending track aside, it's a wonderful track. It has the groove and intensity that every track on the S album has. It just doesn't feel like an ending track. Even if the part starting at 254 is really cool, it just doesn't feel like an ending track to me. Regardless of a weird ending track to a good album, we have one last thing to discuss. The live performances. They are good, they are good, they are good, they are good, they are good. And I should start out with this. Nana has been best described as a horror character, with moods more akin to a possessed person than a lead vocalist. And she takes full advantage and a lot of skill. Let's just say she takes full advantage of her ballerina skills in a live setting and the amount of flexibility that goes into that. And for the most part, vocally matches her studio performances almost perfectly, with some creative liberty taken, as she's a very active person on stage. And if you move around like that, you just can't really, you know, perform like the studio, let's just say that. But as the entire band as a whole, they're on point. But that's expected from bands from Japan. They generally have a higher level of what they consider to be good. They don't take shortcuts in their live performances. They want to perform at their very best, even if it means self-destructing themselves, like certain other bands that I know. But that's just sort of what they do, and other countries could take note in that. A quick check on their social media shows that they are touring with frequently, that is, with bands that are bigger than them by a large margin. So it seems to me, at least, that they're growing at an exponential rate, which is good. It's very good to see. And their social media links will be down below for people who to check them out. Hopefully check them out because they are amazing. And they are a really good band to listen to because they are something different in a time where everything sounds the same. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that little bell for more notifications.